All right, good evening, everybody. It's nighttime vid. It is Tuesday, the 15th of March, and it's about 9:30 at night. And we are, just gonna go through the day. I guess for me, I'm just taking my socks off because I got my little grounding pad underneath my feet, grounded to the earth, which I think is a good thing. A couple things today. I saw a great interview with, the Liver King was with on Paul Saladino's Fundamental Health podcast, and the guy's he's a machine, man. And I don't know if you've seen him, heard of him, or what, but he's all about ancestral living, and he's this big dude who is jacked and lives like an ancestral human. He eats meat. He does eat carbohydrates. He has but he gets his nutrition from meat, fat, and organs. Lots of liver, and it's kind of hard to argue the guy's not in optimal health. And the way he goes about it, he's got 9 ancestral tenets. And they're like rules that he lives by, which is kind of like eat, move, uh, lift heavy things, and move fast once in a while. And there's a few others, but I won't get into it. If you want to check it out, I'll put the link down below. But one thing that really struck me today, what he's saying, was hormones. And the question pops up, I guess, quite often is if he's on like performance enhancing drugs or steroids, and his short answer was no. And this is what happens when you live hard and your hormones are acting like a human being, and you're nourishing your body to the point where this is muscle development, and all your hormones are riding at their optimal levels. Your growth hormone, your testosterone, just for the androgenic side of things, and it's quite obvious. And he's a great guy, and if I don't know if you've ever seen it. He can be a little intimidating when he's doing his videos, but he's very intelligent, and I have mad respect for him. And it was nice to hear Paul Saladino and him have a conversation about their experiences in Africa with hunter-gatherer tribes. And the guy's been all over the world, with some tribes in Peru. And it was just really cool. So I'll put the link below, and if you wanted to check it out, it's pretty cool. It's a different twist on things, and what he said about hormones really struck me. So we are quite often, I think, overlooking the biggest factor in our lives. They determine our mood. They determine our physical development. They determine our mental capacity. They determine our biological clock. They determine our biological function, our physiology. Immensely important. And especially nowadays, where these conditions, and everything from thyroid problems to diabetes, you can trace a lot of things back to hormones. And I think, just from my experience, me not being an endocrinologist, but I think when you get your natural hormones, and we've talked about this before, the balance and the dance of your body working synergistically together at the right time, that is, that's arguable optimal health. I mean, everything's just going to work better and work for you, not against you. And I think there's a lot of things that disrupt the hormonal balance, to the environment, about certain chemicals and plastics and xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens and blah blah and all that stuff. I think there's a lot of contaminants in our food, pesticides, crop spraying, and then all the chemicals, the preservatives, and then you have all the anti-nutrients in plants. And the list is huge, and the odds are stacked against us. And I think a really good idea is to take an ancestral approach to the way you're living. And that can be in little bits, from the light that hits your eyes from getting out in the sun. I don't believe we should be fearing the sun. I think we should be cherishing the sun. There's so many things that happen because of it, and it's deep rooted things. Andrew Huberman, neuroscientist out of Stanford, talks about the importance of light, specifically the amount of lux that daylight, specifically sunlight, sets your circadian rhythm for the day, as far as your cortisol, your body temperature, your melatonin, your adenosine production, which is kind of leading up to your melatonin release to allow you to get to sleep. And sleeping is of vital importance, and it all comes based around a circadian rhythm and a clock that you can't really study. You don't really. There's no way to. I mean, they know the effects of it, but we're so far removed from getting sunlight in our eyes as soon as we wake up. Like we're arguably the modern civilization is disrupting the animal side of us quite significantly, and I think hormones are a big factor to that. And there's a natural ebb and flow of hormones. Insulin gets secreted, glucagon comes down. That's the two hormones from the alpha and the beta cells in the pancreas. When insulin's always up, your glucagon's not really doing anything, and the insulin puts all the regulatory hormones sort of on the back shelf, and then it has to deal with the energy before they can all start going into it. And it can get really, really, we can get in the weeds about the science and all that stuff, but just basic principles. I mean, you want your hormones to be firing and working optimally. And it's kind of hard to imagine that what you eat does not significantly affect that either. So, we're going to keep this short. I'm going to post a link for that. But I just want everybody to know and to realize your hormones are your guide, your body's guide to what happens. And I think we neglect them, and I don't think we're attuned to proper hormonal function. And it's very easy to trace it back to disruption from glucose, carbohydrate abuse, so to speak, and toxicities that I think we take for granted in some of the foodstuffs that we consume. So, it's good to think like a human being thought before we had all these modern interventions and disruptions. That's my opinion. And, I'm trying to get good sleep. Getting on 10,000 steps minimum a day, cold showers, doing the Wim Hof breathing, which is, I think it's helping. I mean, I'm starting, I can hold my breath now for like 3 minutes plus, which, at the start it was 30 seconds was a struggle, but it's developing. And now the cold showers are getting better and better too. I'm now it's timeless. I'm in there. It doesn't even bother me. And I'm kind of trying to push it a little bit. So, whether it's 5 minutes or 2 minutes, I'm doing it every day. And my sleep is good. This daylight savings time, I don't know if it's a good thing. Kind of threw me off a little bit, to be honest with you. But, with the natural flow, forget the clock, just look at the sun, right? So there's lots of things you can start doing. Grounding yourself to the earth. What's the harm? Put your feet on the grass or hug a tree. What's the harm? But if the shamans out there are claiming that it's like, it's another dimensional heal, why not? Try it. So get out in nature. Enjoy nature. It's what we're meant to do. Get out in the ocean. Breathe the salt air. Salt is good. Sunshine. Get out in the sun. Get good sleep. And if you're not doing those things, maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's some toxicity or some bad things happening in your body that you need to address, whether it's your gut or your digestion, your electrolyte balance, which is vitally important to our energy. And these things can be overlooked or just taken for granted fairly quickly. So that's all I'm going to say today. I'm going to post that link below. He's legit, Liver King. And, there's definitely some takeaways that you can learn from, definitely. And, cut out the crap, guys. It only gets worse. And, get those seed oils, those vegetables out of your life. They're not good for you. And yeah, refined, hyper palatable junk food is dragging you down. Step away from the vehicle and get into the ancestral approach. Fat, protein, nutritious food, whole food at least. So yeah, you take care. Have a great evening. Have a great day. Stay strong.